Blender is all about having fun, so in this video we're gonna take a reference from a game called Mass Effect Andromeda and we're gonna make it our own. Let's go. It's really important to learn how to work from references properly if you really want to boost your creativity and you want to become better at designing whatever you want to design. In my case, it's sci-fi. You want to look at a lot of references, you want to have a lot of visual cues, but when you're modeling something from a reference, you want to make it your own. It's going to be challenging at first, but every time you do this and you repeat that process, you're going to get better and better, and your visual library in your brain's going to get, wider and more refined, and you eventually gonna be able to sit down and easily model something on your own by pulling various ideas from your brain or just other references by just simply looking at visual cues. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this simple reference and we're going to have some fun using my favorite add-ons, Box Cutter and Hardopes. And by the way, speaking of these add-ons, we have a fantastic new course. So if you want to learn how to use these add-ons properly in your modeling workflow and you want to be really efficient with these add-ons and you want to discover all the amazing tools and features they offer so you can build your own personal workflow, go ahead and grab our brand new course, which is called The Ultimate Guide to Hardopes and Box Cutter 2.0. It's packed with 6 years of my experience and knowledge using these add-ons every day for personal projects, client work, Blender Bros courses, etc. So there's a lot of experience in there, and this is the only, not just complete, but also up-to-date source of knowledge on these add-ons, period. So go ahead and grab it. The link is in the video description and enjoy. People absolutely love this course, and it doesn't matter what's your age or what's your experience level, like you can see on the screen. They love the original course and they love the new one. So again, go ahead and get it. The link is in the video description. All right, so now we're gonna start modeling. So let's grab a cue. So Shift and grab a cue. Now, usually when you're modeling something like a locker, it's made for humans, right? So you would like to preferably use a human reference, but eventually when you get better, modeling, you're gonna be able to eyeball these things, and this is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna eyeball it. But if you want to be really precise and you're starting and you still have, a bit trouble with, finding the right proportions. So for example, the size, the height, the width, the handle size, the whatever, the monitor size, keyboard, you know what I mean? Something that humans can use human references because, your design is going to be more precise and you're going to learn how to understand scale better without references. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, just a side tip. So now we're going to apply the scale. So Control A, apply scale. Otherwise, when I'm going to bevel this, we're going to have a problem. So I want to chamfer this here like that, right? We're going to change this design a bit. So you see here on this reference, I'm going to pull it up again. You see that the angles here are quite sharp. I want to make them much softer. And another thing we're going to do is we're going to change the design of the doors. Instead of them being openable sideways, they're going to be openable going up. Just like, like a door in a Lambo or something. Anyway, so let's first grab these two edges and run a chamfer. A bevel. Now, when you're running a bevel, you want to run a bevel that you can, later on decimate. So you want to run an even number of the segments. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So uneven number of edges. So you can select every second edge in the middle and dissolve them in case you wanted to, for example, lower the resolution of bevels later on. It's a good practice to get into, especially when you're going to be designing, game assets. Here, the same thing. I'm gonna, bevel these corners just a little bit, not too much. And then I'm going to pop a bevel on top of it. So bevel, and I'm going to apply weighted normal. So Q and Alt click on sharpen. Now in Blender Vanilla, depending on the version, you will see that this modifier here is gonna be pinned. So if I, for example, went ahead with a cube and I apply smooth by angle using Blender, then I'm gonna have this pin here. And the problem with this one is that if you're gonna apply a bevel to this and then weighted normal is gonna be usually above the smooth by angle, but you see that the new version of Hardopes actually fixed this problem and it unpins the smooth by angle and it moves weighted normals below this stack. So it's actually I think they fixed it because previous versions did not do this. I just installed a brand new version of Hardops and Boxcutter, and I just installed the latest version of Blender, 4.43. So I think they fixed it. Let's see if they also fixed the, the Smart Apply, because that one was having some issues when I was recording the course I mentioned before. All right, so now here, what I want to do is I want to grab this this face here, and I want to insert it, okay? Or in fact, what we could do, we could grab the sides here, and we could actually shift curve extract them like that, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab this face and Alt S and move it inwards like this. So it's gonna be kind of hovering in there. I think that's enough. So we have two elements here, kind of fitting together, which is kind of cool. Because I'm gonna be cutting this one, right? So let's just now add a bevel here, and the bevel will not work because it's actually above the solidification. So let's actually fix that. I think solidification is not being sorted. So what we could do is go to Control tilde menu and go to workflow, and let's see here. Yeah, solidification, just turn it on. So Hardops and Boxcutter, is going to sort these modifiers for us, which is really important. So, again, when I'm going to add the bevel now, you'll see that it's going to actually be correctly added underneath solidification. So I don't know why it's disabled by default, but, let's enable that, okay? We're going to slice this thing in the bottom. So let's go to Boxcutter. And I'm going to slice this thing here in the bottom with X, so slash it, and I'm going to apply it, sharpen. And I'm gonna grab this edge, and actually let's run a loop here, grab this edge and move it inwards like this, right? And then I'm gonna grab this one, apply this, and I'm going to bevel this here, like that, okay? And then you see that we're gonna have this nasty edge here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove this sharp edge here, right? It's going to cause issues, kind of visual issues. You see that kind of like a crease. So we can remove it by recalculating sharpen by pressing Ctrl, Shift, and sharpen. It's going to remove this edge for us, which is what I want. Here to bevel, let's add the bevel here as well, and we're good to go. And I'm thinking that maybe we could cut this here like that. I think it's gonna look interesting. And let's mirror this to the other side with Alt X. So let's just apply this, so Smart Apply. And the moment of truth, now Smart Apply is working properly, which means it doesn't apply bevel to our mesh. And I'm going to mirror this here to the other side like that, and I think that's pretty cool. Awesome. So now we got this, and let's save it because it's Blender, right? What I want to do is I want to cut this, like I said, the door here, but I wanted to do it a bit differently. So let's slice it maybe like this high, go inwards and press B for bevel, and maybe add two more segments, X and space. And let's recover this for a second because in fact I want to make it a little bit smaller. So S and Shift X, so we scale on Z and Y but not on X. And I want to make sure that these edges here are a bit thicker. And I also want to increase the bevel here, so I want to make it I want to make it much more thick here. Alright, so you will see clearly the outline of this door, and also the bevel size is gonna be a little bit different on the sides. And here it's nice to have different sizes of bevels, because that's that adds a lot to the design language. All right, so now here I want to cut a piece out of this, but if I do that, you see the bevel is gonna be huge. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use a cool tool from Hardops and Boxcutter. I mean, it's actually Hardops. It's called Step. So click on Step, and it's going to make sure that the next bevel for the next boolean is gonna be half the size. So if I cut this now, you see that the bevel is half the size that this original bevel, which is cool because it's exactly what I want. Let's have a scroll this and move it down a bit so it's not so vulgar. And then I'm gonna cut a handle here inside of this, allow that, right? And I'm gonna use a bevel here like this, press X, and you know, cut in a handle, move it a little bit deeper. Let me just multiply this, and let's go here and bevel this, and I'm gonna lower the bevel on this handle just a little bit, right? So we got this kind of like a handle over there, and obviously we need to mirror this because at the moment it's not, you know, it's not mirrored. So there you go, there's your handle. And when you pull this, you know, you pull the handle and you pull this whole, you know, this entire door up, and that's cool. And here in the top, and we don't have to worry about this too much, to be honest. We could create some kind of like, you know, illusion of a hinge or whatever, you know, and just add weighted normal, so we're good to go. This one is a little bit, the bevel is huge, so you see that it's overshooting here, so we need to bring this a little bit deeper here, and we're gonna be good. Okay, now here in the bottom, what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab this this cutter, we're gonna shift D that and move it down. And I don't really want the bevel here, so I'm gonna nuke the bevel, and I'm gonna run it, you know, slightly less crazy bevel here, maybe something like this. And I'm going to slash it, so boolean and slash, right? So you're gonna get this shape in the bottom, which is kind of cool, sort of closes off this shape. Now this could be a little bit more round, so you know, we could run a bevel here. Just have to be careful not to overshoot this, because if you do, you're gonna have a problem. Let's just mirror it to the other side, and then we're good to go. And that's peachy, nice. All right, so now on the side, I want to run a cut with an end gun. So D and end gun, and we're gonna repeat this angle here like this, right? And maybe go down and do something like this. Okay, and I'm gonna press a B for bevel. And then X and slice it, okay? Now it's in the middle, so I want to drop it a bit down. So ever scroll and we can drop it down. And since it's on its own sort of an object, because you know we're not cutting both, and we're cutting just the outside layer. It's fine. You see, it's kind of like a 70-30 here, beautifully offsetting this angle there. And I think what we could do is around these corners here. So let's apply the solidification. So operations multiply, go to edge mode and just round these, and we're gonna mirror this to the other side. So let's, oh, the origin point is in the middle, so let's mirror this across this one, and we're good to go. And you see it's going to sort of like nicely correspond with these bevels on top and the bevel in the corner. So we're already getting a very different feel than this you know, model, but we sort of borrowed the basic idea from it, right? Now, you know, this is gonna be in space, so maybe there are gonna be some turbulences or whatnot, so we could maybe add some handles. But before we're gonna do that, let me just run a cool a small cut in here, B, and run it through. That didn't work very well. Let's try this again, B, and run it through. That's interesting. Hang on, let me apply this. Smart apply, there we go, and then do this again. There we go. So we got this one. I want to bring it a bit closer, so I have a scroll and move it closer here. There we go, that's cool. So we can tie something on the top, you know, whatnot, right? And we could have some ventilation system on the side, but this all could be done with, you know, this could be all done with Shift T to taper, not T, Shift T to taper, like that. This could be all done with decals, but we can create a cut here for a kind of some sort of a vent system, you know. Maybe not so deep, so let me just move this outside on y-axis, kind of like a more shallow, you know, more shallow cut here, and obviously we need to mirror this to the other side. That didn't work very well. Oh yeah, the origin point is here on the bottom. Let me move this origin point here to these two edges, so Shift S and to edge, and then we can mirror this across. Boom, right? So I got this kind of like an element here on the top, and you know it's going to close off this this build. Here on the bottom we could have some cut as well to make this a little bit less, you know, kind of like grounded. Do you know what I mean? Something like this, maybe even taller. So I mean higher up. So let's recover this and you know, move it a bit higher, something like that, just to maybe, you know, sort of echo this cut on the top, and that's peachy. You could have some, you know, tiny notches here and there. Shift V to align to nearest edge or to longest edge, and then we can beautifully align our cut here. This will not work for some reason. Hang on a second. Okay, in this case, let's go to Shift V and to nearest edge. There we go. If one doesn't work, try the other one. I think this is mirrored, so let's go from here. One there, and we could actually borrow this. So if you want to move this on this specific edge, what you can do is go to this option here and create a custom orientation. Grab this cut here and Shift D in edit mode, so you don't have to recut it. So select everything. So one more time, go to the mode, select everything, Shift D, and then probably on Y-axis, there we go, and move it somewhere here. And you're gonna be able to move it, you know, along this edge, and then just make sure you're gonna reset it back to global. Cool, and you know, it's a locker, so we might want to add some kind of a ventilation here. So maybe we're gonna run some cut here like this. So this is mirrored. Let's apply the mirror because we don't need it. So it's multiply. Let's run a cut here. Let's maybe bevel this and press Q for quad bevel. So in this case, you're gonna be beveling all sides here and here. Press X and, you know, apply that. And I'm gonna run some sort of you know, ventilation here, maybe like this, but smaller, like really tiny one, right? So very, very thin. There we go. Press V to, and then X to change the alignment, and maybe make like 5 of them. Cut, and there we go. That should work. And then, now we're gonna have the nasty connections going from the corners. So what we want to do is we want to run a knife through it. So okay, knife sorted, and then obviously weight at normals, and you're good to go. And you got this kind of a cool, you know, vent system here on the top. Now you don't want to overdo this, because, you know, if you overdo the details, this is a very common mistake, you know, new people make in Blender. It's not gonna look that good, right? So you want to take it easy, you know, and whatnot. Now I was talking about handles. What we could do is we could put handles on the side. So we could do this with curve extract. So let's just rip this off. So control click on curve extract, which is going to rip these edges out. GY, and I'm gonna move it in here. Let's oh, this is mirrored. Okay, let me nuke this mirror, or yeah, let me nuke the mirror and mirror across the shape like this. There we go. And then we're going to grab this element here and E and Y, move it in, and we're going to nuke this edge here because we don't need it. You know, scale this in like that, curve it. So Shift Control B, and don't overdo this these verts, because you will end up with a very dense curve, and it's not a good idea. And then we're gonna go with curve extract. So let's go to mesh tools and curve extract and press S to smooth it. If you want a more resolution, you can press Ctrl 1 to subdivide it. I think it's too big, so we're gonna scale it on Z axis, Shift S and move to Geo S Z and scale it down. I want it to be smaller. Okay, I want it to be smaller on the right height. I think this is perfect. So you can hold on to it and open this locker. See, that makes sense. And like I said, it's, you know, it's kind of proportional to this whole design. And this looks pretty cool to me. Here in the bottom, we could have some small notches, but this could be done with decals, so we don't have to mess with bevels, and, you know, we're good to go. So, you know, this would be a very simple way of kind of using a reference like this and designing something on your own. Then obviously you can take it to a next level and you can texture it. You could texture it using our add-on Materialworks. You know, it's really simple, right? I can show you. Let's go to metal. Let's put some floor on. For example, this one, obviously we need some lighting, which you can do with one click, literally. Right, and These are fantastic HDRIs from Alex Central. Let's apply scale on the floor, and then we can, you know, the floor resolution is actually more or less fine. This locker could be, you know, could be white, like the casing could be white, so let's go to metal. And let's go with maybe, or maybe this one, basic metal, you know, kind of like a grayish top and the grayish front here. And the bottom part could be dark, cyber titanium, right? The same with this one, we could copy that color here. So go to material and copy. And then this one, maybe this one's a bit too dark. How about white? How would white look? Oh, white looks actually quite nice. Let's drop white everywhere here, except maybe for this one. This one could be the same as this, I wonder. Probably. This one could also be the same. And the legs could be also of this color. That kind of looks cool. And the handles could be white as well, to be honest, so they're gonna nicely offset against this, this whole structure. And you see, it looks really cool. And this is how easy it is to design stuff. And then you could use decals. And by the way, you know, our item comes with the wear and tear. So with one click, you can add damage to your model if you wanted to. So, you know, let me just go back here on this and click on this. Let's see, click on this one so you can see. We can add wear and tear. And obviously you're gonna have you have the ability to choose from multiple different types of wear, and also different types within the types. So, you know, sort of like variations of them. You can adjust everything, scale, strength, you know, normal map, flip them. It's just so many options. It's crazy. I like to create clean stuff. I don't really like working too much with damage unless I'm creating some kind of composites, you know, for portfolio. But usually I like to work with clean stuff, you know, new, okay, brand new from the factory. That's what I like. In any case, this would do. Now the floor, you know, you can't really kind of see much because I mean, it doesn't really offset very well because you got this dark material here. You could change the color of the floor obviously to something else, like for example whitish, or maybe slightly less, you know, less dark. Or you could change the color of it to make it, you know, bluish, for instance, right? Maybe not as saturated, but let me just fix this here, make it darker. There you go, and this is going to offset nicely, you see, and pump more light into it as well, because anything that's dark and, you know, is going to absorb light, and everything that's brighter is going to reflect light. And then you can play with decals. I mean, I don't have decal machine installed here, but you can buy a whole pack of decals. In fact, 2 massive decal packs with this with our add-on. If you go for the platinum version, you'll get 860 decals and 20 plus trim sheets, which is going to give you an insane amount of decals for detailing your models. The same with trim sheets, you can do some crazy stuff with them. But there you go. And these decals work with our mats. If you're using decal machine, which you should, you're gonna be able to apply wear and tear through decals and use the same mat on your model and the decals and trim sheets, because we made sure that it's working together. And this is how easy it is to design stuff. And again, like I said, if you look at the references, try to, instead of copying them, you know, one-to-one, try to actually imbue them with your own style. Try to think how you would change the design even a little bit. Doesn't have to be complicated, something simple like this, but it's going to give you a tremendous amount of experience every time, you know, bit by bit, and you're going to pick it up really quickly, and eventually you're going to be able to just sit down and design something from scratch without looking at any references. Or when you're going to be looking at references, you're going to be looking at the visual cues, thinking, okay, you know, this element is cool, how can I adapt this element to my style? And when you start thinking like this, you start thinking like a designer, like a 3D artist, not just someone who copies other people's work. Because getting inspired is very different from modeling from references and literally copying what you're seeing. That will not teach you anything about design, or at least not very much. You just have to you know, press the boundaries and challenge yourself a bit and try, you know, something a bit more, something harder, you know. It's going to help you to improve, you know, like I said, little by little, but eventually, you know, you'll kind of see the light in the tunnel. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one. Like I said, if you are into modeling and you wanna have a lot of fun and model with ease in Blender, bypassing all these clunky vanilla Blender tools, grab our fantastic course, The Ultimate Guide to Hardups and Boxcar 2.0, which was released very recently, and it's really fantastic. There's a lot of bonus sections over there. There's a massive section on modeling when you're gonna be modeling this awesome sci-fi truck, and you know, all the tools I explained, advanced section, rendering section, is a lot of stuff over there. Go ahead and read it on our website or watch the video and you will know what's inside. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.